The sound of splintering wood is not what a man wants to hear before breakfast. Yet there it was again, my ranch gate groaning like a wounded animal as Karen's shiny white SUV barreled straight through it, as if she owned the land. No wave, no permission, just tinted windows and entitlement. Maybe the first time was a mistake. The second time felt like she was testing me. By the third, I knew she was daring me. And if there's one thing you should know about me, it's this: I don't take kindly to dares on my own land. When I bought this ranch, I had one vision: peace. Wide open skies. Horses grazing at dawn. A heavy cedar gate that swung closed every night with a satisfying thud. After 30 years of construction, dust in my lungs, bosses breathing down my neck, and homeowners associations telling me what shade of beige my mailbox had to be, I wanted quiet. My place sits on the edge of Pine Hollow, an HOA kingdom with more rules than the Constitution. Lucky for me, my land is carved out, outside their jurisdiction. No dues, no rules, no clipboard warriors. That gate was my line in the sand. Then came Karen. Perfect blonde bob, oversized sunglasses, a brand new SUV with a Pine Hollow Proud bumper sticker. She slowed, rolled down her window, and smiled a smile that didn't touch her eyes. "Lovely place," she said. "Thanks," I replied. Then, without another word, she pressed the gas and plowed through my closed gate. Hinges screamed. Cedar splintered. Gravel sprayed. And before I could process it, she was halfway across my pasture, trailing dust like she was late to her own coronation. I told myself it was a fluke. Maybe GPS misled her. Maybe she was lost. But that smirk she gave in the rear view told me otherwise. I rebuilt the gate that evening, reset the posts deeper in the soil, reinforced the hinges. A week later she did it again, only this time she rolled down her window and shouted, "Community easement." My blood boiled. I knew my deed backward and forward. There was no easement, no right-of-way. This was trespassing, plain and simple. To Karen, though, HOA rules were the 10 Commandments, and she was Moses. At the feed store, 2 old ranchers shook their heads when I mentioned her. "Good luck with that," one said. "She runs the HOA like a kingdom." The other added, "She'll bleed you dry with fines. Best let her be." But you don't tell a man to let it be when someone keeps smashing his gate. Soon, other HOA board members followed her lead. A convoy of minivans and sedans rolled through my land like it was their new freeway. Then came an official letter in my mailbox claiming my gate was unsightly and had to be removed. I laughed out loud. I wasn't even in their HOA. That's when I realized Karen wasn't just entitled, she was declaring war. One morning, I parked my old Chevy across the gate and sat on the tailgate with coffee. Dust rose on the horizon. Karen slowed, sneered, and said, "You're wasting your time. This road is for everyone." "No, ma'am," I said. "This road is for me. My deed says so." She hissed, "You'll regret this," then left in a cloud of gravel. The next day my gate lay flattened again, tire tracks deep and fresh. I called the sheriff, but without video it was my word against hers. Around the country, HOAs often act like shadow governments. More than 74 million Americans live under them, and plenty have stories of fines and bullying dressed up as community standards. Karen had picked the wrong rancher. I decided if she wanted to keep testing me, she wouldn't be hitting cedar anymore. I hauled out industrial steel beams I'd salvaged from demolition jobs. I drilled 6-foot posts into concrete, reinforced with rebar cages. On the outside I mounted cedar planks so it looked like the same old wooden gate, but behind it was a fortress. Then I dug shallow trenches just past the gate and installed tire-shredding spikes hidden under fresh gravel. For 5 days straight I welded, bolted, and braced until my hands blistered and my back ached. Neighbors slowed to watch. One old-timer chuckled, "Son, you're playing with fire." Maybe, but I was done playing victim. The trap was ready, and it didn't take long. On a bright Saturday, Karen came barreling down the road again. 2 HOA cars trailing her like a royal procession. No slowing, no hesitation. She rammed the gate head-on. This time the gate didn't budge. Metal struck metal with a report like a gunshot. Her SUV crumpled, airbags exploded. As her rear tires skidded onto the disguised trench, pop, 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 the spikes ripped her wheels to ribbons. The minivan behind her fishtailed into a ditch. The sedan locked its brakes and stopped inches shy of her bumper. Dust hung in the air like smoke after a battle. Karen stumbled out, coughing in a haze of airbag dust, sunglasses cracked, fury on her face. "What have you done?" she screamed. I leaned on the porch rail. "Stopped you from trespassing." Neighbors gathered, phones out, some laughing. When the sheriff arrived, she tried to spin it. He set a trap. He endangered lives. But this time I had cameras mounted on the posts. Every trespass, every crash, every smug grin, recorded. The sheriff watched the footage and shook his head. "Ma'am, this looks like trespassing." For the first time, Karen looked powerless. She wasn't finished, though. A week later, she served me with lawsuits, reckless endangerment, property damage, emotional distress. She even wanted me to pay for her SUV repairs. That's when I hired Martha, a sharp-eyed property lawyer who'd been wrangling HOAs for 3 decades. She filed a countersuit for trespassing, harassment, destruction of property, and fraud. In court, Karen arrived in a blazing red suit with binders stacked high, her board trailing like nervous ducklings. Her lawyer performed a dramatic monologue about my booby-trapped gate. Then Martha stood and quietly dismantled the story. My ranch lay outside HOA jurisdiction, the fines were bogus, and the only danger came from Karen's repeated trespassing. She cued the footage. The courtroom watched Karen's SUV slam into the gate, the tires bursting, the earlier clips of her blasting through while yelling community easement. By the end, the judge looked unimpressed. When Karen took the stand, she melted down. "I am the president. He can't defy the HO." Until the gavel cracked and the judge said, "This is a court of law, not your board meeting." The ruling came quick. The court tossed the HOA's claims, ordered them to pay for the damage to my property, and fined Karen for harassment and reckless driving. The videos entered the public record and went viral within days. The internet christened my build the Gate of Justice. Memes sprouted like weeds, freeze frames of Karen's shock with captions reading, "You shall not pass." Her kingdom crumbled. Board members resigned. Neighbors told their own stories of bogus fines and threats. The HOAs wore chest ran dry under legal fees. Karen went from queen bee to cautionary tale. For the first time since I'd moved in, my mornings were quiet again. No rumbling SUVs, no convoys, no envelopes stuffed with threats. Just wind in the grass, horses nickering, and the creak of my porch chair. Then a certified letter arrived. A settlement. If I'd take down my menacing gate and allow limited community passage, she'd drop the rest. She called it healing divisions. I sent 2 sentences back. There is no community easement. I own the road, and the deed proves it. I'd already confirmed it in county records. My ranch stood outside the HOA, and the little shortcut road she loved? It wasn't public at all. It was deeded to me. Karen stormed onto my property one last time, waving my letter like a flag. "This is fraud. You can't own that road. It's for the community." I leaned against the porch post and said, "Check the records, Karen. The deed's in my name. Always has been." Neighbors filmed as realization crept across her face. Something inside her seemed to snap. She stomped a heel into the dust, spun on her toes, and left without another word. From that day on, she never tried my gate again. The HOA limped along, suddenly more interested in trimming hedges than bullying ranchers. My gate stood tall, cedar on the face, steel at the core, guarding not just my driveway but my dignity. Looking back, I know this was never just about a gate or an SUV or a woman named Karen. It was about boundaries and the courage to defend them. Life will always have people who think rules don't apply to them, who laugh at your lines and push until you either break or build something stronger. I chose to build. Your gate might be time or energy or peace of mind, but whatever it is, don't let anyone trample it just because they think they can. Set your boundaries. Reinforce them. And when someone refuses to respect them, stand your ground. Not every gate swings open. Some gates fight back.